Welcome, dear friends. Today's story is not just a story. It is a gentle reminder, a wake-up call, and a message straight from the heart. In a world where we chase success, promotions, and achievements, we often forget the very people who made all of it possible. This heart-touching story will make you pause, reflect, and perhaps pick up the phone to call your parents today. Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a quiet, forgotten village, lived an old man named Jerry. His heart was full, but his home felt empty. His son, Thomas, had moved to the bustling city years ago, chasing dreams and building a life of his own. The letters had become less frequent, the calls shorter, and the distance between them felt like more than just miles. Jerry hadn't seen his son in what felt like a lifetime. One morning, with a mix of hope and longing, Jerry decided he couldn't wait any longer. He packed a small bag, his hands trembling slightly, and began the long, arduous journey to the city. He remembered the old address from which his son's letters used to arrive, a beacon of connection in a sea of distance. After hours of travel, he finally stood before the door, his heart pounding with a joyful rhythm. He knocked, his knuckles rapping against the wood, each tap a beat of anticipation. But when the door creaked open, it wasn't his son who stood there. It was a stranger, with a sinking feeling. Jerry asked, "I thought Thomas lived at this address." The man shook his head. "No, Thomas doesn't live here anymore. He moved quite a while ago, found a much nicer place, I hear." Disappointment washed over Jerry. He felt lost in the vast, impersonal city. How could he possibly find his son now? He began to walk aimlessly down the street, his shoulders slumped. He started asking neighbors, his voice soft and hopeful, if they knew where Thomas had gone. Just as he was about to give up, a kind-faced woman approached him. "Are you looking for Thomas?" she asked gently. Jerry's eyes lit up as he nodded eagerly. She smiled and gave him 2 addresses, one for Thomas's new home and another for his grand new office downtown. Jerry's spirit lifted. He thanked her profusely, and with renewed purpose, made his way toward the gleaming skyscraper where his son worked. He entered the impressive lobby and approached the reception desk. "Excuse me," he said to the young woman behind the counter. "Can you please tell me where I can find Thomas?" She looked at him, her expression professional and detached. "May I ask how you know him?" Jerry's face broke into a proud, gentle smile. "I am his father." The receptionist's demeanor changed slightly. She asked Jerry to take a seat while she called Thomas. On the other end of the line, Thomas was shocked. His father here now? He was in the middle of a crucial project, the one that would secure his big promotion. "Send him to my cabin immediately," he instructed, his voice a mix of surprise and slight annoyance. Jerry walked into the spacious, modern office, and the moment he saw his son sitting behind a large, polished desk, his eyes welled up with tears. He had missed him so much. Thomas was happy to see him too, though his mind was still buzzing with deadlines and spreadsheets. They exchanged a few pleasantries, a formal conversation that felt strangely distant. Then, Jerry got to the real reason for his visit. "Son," he began, his voice tender, "your mother wants to see you. She'll misses you terribly. Will you come home with me?" Thomas's expression tightened. "No, Dad, I can't. I'm just too busy. This project is critical for my promotion, and it's impossible to get leave right now." Jerry managed a small, sad smile. "Okay, son, you focus on your work, I understand. I'll just head back to the village this evening." Thomas felt a pang of guilt. "You could stay with me for a few days," he offered, the invitation feeling a bit hollow, even to his own ears. After a moment of silence, Jerry shook his head. "Son, you're busy. I don't want to be a burden or make you uncomfortable. If I ever get the chance to see you again, I'll be glad." And with those heavy words, he turned and left, leaving Thomas alone in his big, empty office. A few weeks passed. The project was a success, but the victory felt empty. Thomas found his thoughts drifting back to his father's sudden visit. Why had he come all that way, all alone? A deep sense of regret began to gnaw at him. He had been cold, dismissive, a wave of guilt washed over him. He had to make it right. He applied for leave, packed a bag, and set off for his village to surprise his parents. When he arrived at the place where he was born, the place that held all his childhood memories, he found the house empty, a shell of what it once was. A cold fear gripped him. He ran to the neighbors, his voice frantic. "My parents used to live here. Where are they?" The neighbors looked at him with pity and gave him a new address, their words hesitant. Thomas followed their directions, his heart hammering against his ribs. The path led him to a desolate, barren piece of land on the edge of the village. It looked almost like a graveyard. His eyes filled with tears as he walked slowly, dreading what he would find. From a distance, a familiar figure saw him. It was Jerry. "Thomas," he called out, his voice weak but clear. Thomas broke into a run and threw his arms around his father, sobbing. "Dad, what is this? What happened?" Jerry tried to comfort him. "How are you, son? It's a surprise to see you here. I didn't expect you to come." Thomas couldn't look him in the eye, his head bowed in shame. "Why are you feeling so bad? Did something go wrong at work?" Jerry asked, concerned. No, Dad, Thomas choked out. I never thought I'd find you in a place like this. Jerry sighed, a sad smile on his face. When you went to the city for college, I took out a loan to pay for your education. Then, when you needed that new car, I took another. But the crops failed. I couldn't repay the debt. He continued. I thought about asking you for help, but every time we spoke, you sounded so busy, so stressed with your work. I didn't want to add to your burdens, so I kept quiet. In the end, I had to sell our home to pay off what we owed. Thomas's heart shattered. You should have told me. I'm not a stranger, he cried. You were working so hard for your future, Jerry said softly. Your mother and I, we just wanted you to be happy. That's all we've ever wanted, so we kept quiet. Thomas wept, hugging his father tightly, begging for forgiveness for his neglect, for his ignorance, for everything. Jerry gently patted his back. There's no need for that, son. I'm happy now that you're here. All we want is a little of your time. We love you so much, and at our age, it's difficult to make the long journey to see you. For every child, their parents are their world. They are the silent architects of our dreams, the unwavering pillars of our success. They will do everything in their power to see us happy, often at a great personal cost. But in our rush to climb the ladder of life, we sometimes forget the very people holding it steady. We take them for granted, not realizing the depth of their sacrifices until it's almost too late. We must remember that while moving ahead on the path to success, we should never, ever leave our parents behind, because they are the true reason for our success. As this story comes to an end, let us remember one timeless truth. Success loses all its meaning when the people who sacrificed everything for us are left behind. Parents never ask for wealth, status, or recognition. All they truly want is our time, our love, and our presence. Before life moves too fast, before silence replaces conversations, before regret replaces gratitude, let us choose to honor our parents today, because true success is never complete without them. Thank you for spending your precious time listening to this meaningful story. If this touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe, so this message reaches every person who needs to hear it. May we all grow not just in success, but in love, gratitude, and compassion. Stay blessed.